This is the Effing Business Podcast. You ask the questions, we answer.
We back. Is that the we back going to be part of the?
I guess.
Is that going to get edited out?
Why not?
Okay. Yeah. What's going on, Vince? How was your vacation?
Episode 21. A little sick today, so I apologize for the nasal congestion, and I sound like I'm behind a wall, but we're still going to do this because we are determined. Topic today, my friend, is about big chains going out of business.
Retail.
Sears, Toys R Us, etc.
Malls turning into residential
Malls,
housing.
Yeah, residential housing. Maybe even like the Tesla's model, putting stores inside of malls, being more of like they're switching up the mall, just being clothing and.
Meaning that might be good for the mall.
Yeah, I think
It might actually get people to the mall.
There's, I think it's Aspen Dental. I've seen it a couple times. They're in malls, like dental offices in malls.
Right. I think that's how all major retail spaces work. You need, I forget the term. Is it a pillar? You need
pillar stores.
Right. You need but there's a term. Is it pillar?
No, we just
Like so. For example, we live in South Florida. We have Publix.
cornerstones,
Whatever.
anchors.
Anchor store. That's what it might be. Right. So you get like a big box that anchors the plaza,
Right.
like a Publix or
When we were kids, it was like the Dillards and J.C. Penney's of the day.
Burdines. You remember
Burdines, yeah,
I don't
Lord and
think
Taylor's. Lord and Taylor's.
Yeah.
Remember Lord
They
and Taylor's?
merged, or I forget, somebody merged. and
Yeah.
The Florida store,
I
whatever.
got
it
my
was.
bar mitzvah suit at Lord and Taylor's.
Yeah.
Remember
I
that?
got my bar mitzvah suit somewhere in
in the hood.
Borough Park, New York.
Oh yeah.
And when I went to try it on, because like for some reason we were in New York like 6
All right,
months
all right,
before
this
my
is
bar
off
mitzvah.
topic,
No,
yeah.
this is really important. You brought this up. You get to say where your bar mitzvah suit came from.
I bet it was quick.
We
and
tried
easy,
my suit on 3 weeks before my bar mitzvah.
and it didn't fit.
Like not even close.
Like because you got fat, or because it was
Because I grew. I was 13 and I was growing.
Oh, and you bought it way too before.
We bought it way too before. I just said this. Then you interrupted
I
me
have
saying,
clogged ears.
why don't you speak and I'll just nod my head on this podcast,
Oh,
like
that's
all
good.
the other ones. So you think Tesla and companies like this dentistry office might help anchor these stores?
Well, I think they'll help draw attention and sort of supplement what those stores are losing, what the malls are losing, right? Like a dental office isn't going to go into the Sears around the nation that are going out of business and closing down inside of these huge malls because they're 2 stories, 2-3-story department stores that are gone. So it's a lot of square footage to fill.
What if it's just this simple? The mall model doesn't work anymore. The malls that stay in existence
Small model.
have a. No, some of these malls are pretty big.
No, I know that, but,
But
it's like small mall.
have a specific reason to stay in business.
They're
So like-
specialty malls.
Right. So like the outlet mall in Orlando that we've gone to or passed by many
Multiple
times.
times.
Right. You have a huge amount of tourism.
Right.
So that supplements it. I live in Aventura, so Aventura Mall is just like constantly
hub.
expanding.
Right, but they're more because of like it's like a ecosystem, right? Like people come from South America, and that's like where
so
they
have
shop.
they have a niche.
Right.
They're not just a regular freestanding mall.
Right.
So the freestanding malls, if it's not out of business, it's in a lot of
Right,
trouble.
like Sawgrass Mall is like all outlet.
Right. So like the Middle of America Mall is in a lot of trouble. It has to figure something out.
Correct.
Like I assume malls in New York probably are doing okay because they just have so much volume. There's just so
Correct.
many people
right.
to
So many people need a pair of pants.
correct. Or in very very dense populations can get by because
Right.
there's just so many people.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're still getting hurt. I'm
Yeah.
sure rents are still going down.
Yeah.
You don't see the big stores move.
How do they reinvent themselves? What do you think malls look like in 10 years?
I've heard other people say this. I think that they're going to the stores themselves, not just the mall, are going to have to create a reason for people to come out. So like Apple does really well in the malls, right? And malls who have Apple, I assume, do fairly well because you have a need to go to the Apple store. You're going there to get your product fixed. You're going there to buy a product,
Right.
You're going there to browse products, right?
Right.
You don't do that the same way in other stores. So for some reason, why people still go to the Apple store and just don't buy online, I don't know. Maybe the immediacy of the product, like they don't want to wait for their phone. They want their phone
Right.
now.
But in 10 years, I mean, Amazon Now, I think it's called. It's like the 2-hour delivery time. Is that what it is?
You're saying might ruin that,
Yeah, I think they're making.
but
these
will it
little
ruin that for all products?
No, because the products that
So the Apple Store will
products
always
that would be
exist.
in a mall. Yes.
Will it exist in a mall or will it be a freestanding store?
For example, I'm remodeling my bathroom. I don't think I'm going to have Amazon Now for like a tub or a plumbing part.
Right.
Right. But
Because you want it now, and while the guy's
Right.
actually building
Home
out
Depot,
the bathroom, he's going to stop and
Home
go get
Depot.
it.
The reason why Home Depot doesn't have this, obviously they get hit a little bit, but one of the reasons why they will stay is because they're in a place where most of the time you need that product now. Contractors, they get all their materials, and then they need the other little small product, this, that.
Right.
Today, I
So
need
you're
it now.
not telling the owner, hey, buddy, I'll be back tomorrow or in 2 days when the product shows up.
Right.
Well, hold on. You Amazon Now delivers how quickly?
I think the plan is to deliver within like 12 hours, like within the same day.
Okay. So if you can't get it within a couple hours, if it's not like an Uber Eats kind of thing, you're going
I could be
to
wrong
Home
on
Depot.
the delivery time, but I think it's within the same day.
Okay, so
Depending on, I guess, when you order it.
that might put these companies' business model at peril, because if you're Home Depot, why am I going to go to Home Depot to get this little part if I can have Amazon delivered in an hour and I can continue doing what I'm doing, or take a lunch break or something along those lines.
Right.
You know what it is? There's so much unknown. Until it kind of settles down, you can start building your business around that. It's this constant challenge to your underlying business model, and until that kind of stops, right? There's so much there's always like decades of innovation. So you have a decade of where there's just a lot of shakeup, and then it's quiet for a decade or two.
Right, coast.
Right, it coasts. And that's when you feel comfortable, you make decisions and you make investments and you're okay with. Now there's just so much constant shakeup.
You think malls?
You don't know when that ends.
You think malls outside of like specialty ones, outlets,
They're
special markets, Boca Raton, like Boca Raton is a high density of like spend money.
It's a matter of drawing people to the mall. It's that simple, right?
Right.
Like you need a high volume of foot traffic, right?
So do you think?
What do you do to get it?
Do you think Apple goes to these malls and says, "Hey, I'm not paying rent because I'm the draw for your store"?
I'm sure
your mall?
if they don't, I'm sure they have a huge bargaining power to begin with.
Yeah, it's only getting better.
Right, because I don't think like the Apple store, if they have more like the Best Buy model goes away, they get more of a freestanding store like in a strip mall kind of thing.
Right. Well, you see, they rarely, besides for Manhattan, I don't know of another freestanding one.
I went to the Apple store 2 weeks ago to get my computer fixed, and they opened I think at 11 or 12 on a Sunday. I forget the time.
It was
and
packed already.
There was a gigantic line standing outside the store.
Yeah.
It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. There's a security guard who was letting the employees into the store,
Right.
and then the moment that store opened, all these
Rush.
people converged. I'm thinking like I was standing in line, like how'd you get in front of me? But it was just like a giant rush. And this is not 10 years ago when the smartphone came out. This is today.
Yeah.
So they definitely have bargaining power.
So I wonder what it really looks like in 10 years and how they're gonna adjust to it.
I think if you're a store, you have to, one, constantly measure your foot traffic, and two, constantly figure out how to get more foot traffic. And I think that's the problem that most of these clothing retailers have. The online platform is so built out, even regardless of Amazon. It's so easy to buy clothes online. We're not weird about it anymore. Like how many of us still need to try on? Like we wear,
I wear the same pants.
yeah. So you're just gonna you're gonna go on Levi's website, not Levi's. That's a restaurant. Shout out to them.
Right.
So, why am I coming to the store? How many people need the pants right now that they're coming to the store? What is the store going to do to draw people? And that's the problem. I don't think it's the mall's responsibility anymore.
I wonder if they adjust price, like it's cheaper in the store than it is online.
So then why even have a store? Why not just move to online and reduce? I actually saw this article the other day. I saw this article the other day.
Your brand loses, maybe their brand loses.
Right.
And my thought would be their brand loses not so much its value, but its intrigue and its
these clothing retailers
from being in the store, right? Like a lot of products you buy generics of online. You wouldn't buy a generic in a store.
Correct. I hear
right?
that.
You know what I'm saying? Like Amazon they see products that they test with your product, like, oh, we're selling a lot of HDMI wires. Let's make our own, slap it on Amazon Basics and charge less for it. Right? So everyone now has a whole bunch of HDMI Amazon Basic what's it called backpacks. Amazon Basic has a huge product line, so I wonder if they're able to use online and a brand intrigue as that to get people into the store. Like, oh, I like going. There's people also that just like going shopping. Like they like the feel of it. I wonder if that goes away.
Obviously, not enough of them because you have these malls closing down. Or is the question really
malls closing down or
no,
big department
malls?
stores?
Absolute malls. Like there are malls all over the country, specifically like middle of America, that are being knocked down. All the big box stores are gone. They're closed down. It looks like, there's articles and photos. It's pretty spooky. And they're not, the people who own these malls either have sold the malls or are knocking it down and building housing out of it because you have these huge plot of lands. Right? So that's your next best value, right?
Development-wise.
So I think that these stores have to give a reason, not just the mall, to go to the store. And until they can figure that out, their model is going to be at risk. And it has been at risk. We've seen this already. Retail doesn't come back. You don't see retailers generally who have had bad times and are in bankruptcy come back. What's an example of that? Like I'm shocked constantly, like at Sears' attempt to stay afloat. Yeah, like throw in the towel.
Well, Toys R Us now just said they want to come back alive.
Toys R Us has a different problem, but I don't think they're going to come back alive because
They're going to change their model. They're not going to be. I don't think they're
correct.
looking to do.
The problem is when they were bought, they were saddled with a gigantic amount of debt,
Right.
right, to buy them.
Right.
So they were doomed from that sale point to begin with. But they can't come back and do what they did.
No, they have to change what they do.
Maybe they create experience. When I was little, I loved going to Toys R Us. It was heaven. And now when I take my son,
Well, everything's experienced now. Look at. I mean, going a little bit off topic.
but that's what it is,
further
though. That's
away.
what you need.
But experience things are way out because online can't give it.
So my question is,
Right, like
Right,
Top
right.
Golf.
correct,
Right, it's an experience.
Correct.
Right, bowling, as boring as it is, people love it and they go to it because it's an experience.
right?
Like
But
if you go to bowling,
can
like
the mall model figure out how to couple experience with the retail? And that's the problem. I don't think anybody's proven it yet.
I think that's what's bringing people to the mall right now. Experience.
The question is this.
Does it get better?
The question is the mall problem really a result of online shopping, which I'm sure some of it is, or is it just overbuilding? Do they build more malls than we really needed? And the moment somebody else came in, like the online shopping,
because
they
were still
they
filling,
went.
they were filling all the orders. They were filling like 10 years.
I agree with you. It's all experience. If you can't get people to come to your store, you're out of business, and that's huge. I don't know.
We will see.
I feel like if we knew, we would be in that business right now.
Yeah.
Saving retail one store at a time.
Yeah, we can start like a podcast, saving retail one star at a time. All right, that's episode 21. Thanks, Aaron. Sorry for the cold. We out.